Maintenance log, stardate 3210, just before tea time. Our mission to prove that there's life after school, to look at a galaxy of games, to meet the stars of Silicon, to discover what's new in Microland. This is Prune, your friendly used computer, and these are the voyages of the Magic Micro Mission. Hey! Captain, I hate to interrupt this display of musical virtuosity, but we've got an enormous number of Earthlings on board.
Oh, hi there, everyone. Welcome to the mission. We've got lots to show. Tape, disc, and micro. Spectrum, Compom, Microdrive. Superman is still alive. Woo!
Yes, Ruby out of sight, Captain. But could we get on to meet Egghead?
Did you know that modern computers are so powerful that they can be taught to compose music as well as play it? More later.
And the Magic Micro Mission's crew on this voyage includes a cosmic cluster of human computers from Rothwell Junior School, Kettering in Northamptonshire. And pupils from Broadway School in Perry Barr.
Hello, Joe. I could certainly have a user-friendly relationship with you.
Oh, Prune.
But there are two silicone superstars who want to be beamed aboard. They're Chris Seeley and Francis Monkmine.
Julia is trying out one of the best-selling games on the Spectrum, Manic Miner. And with her is games maniac Willie Rushton.
A fine time to arrive. A great boot just settled on her head.
And Mandy's into gambling with jackpot on her VIC-20.
On the Atari 800, Robin is flying helicopters on rescue missions. This game's called Choplifter.
And Leslie fancies himself as a pinball wizard on the Acorn BBC B computer, playing pinball.
Stephen is battling with intergalactic pirates with Cosmic Convoy on the Commodore 64. And we'll be finding out what Willie and the Famous Five think of the games later.
Hey, what's going on here?
Sound of your warp engines entering overdrive.
Francis, this is tremendous. I've been playing on this little thing, and I'm getting bored of it. These look incredible. What are they?
This is what you need next. This is a computer which is designed to play music and make sounds. And it's really the same as this, only, as you can see, a lot bigger and, I'm afraid to say at the moment, a lot more expensive. But I think in the next few years, the way things are going, we should be able to get everything that's in here into one of these.
What, these two into this,
well,
possibly?
Give or take a couple of notes. But,
it's incredible.
Yeah, getting close.
We can all become musicians like you.
Well, I think we'll probably redefine what it is to be a musician. You know, it won't be so much playing one particular instrument. It will be understanding what sound is made of and how to put it together.
Right.
It's more like a composer. You know?
Right. Now, will you take us through some of these things here you've got and how it all works?
Yes. This you can play just like an ordinary... and you can record it.
As you're playing it?
I'm afraid I'm...
an old rocker.
Yeah. I didn't record. Few glitches, but you see you can also make it loop round to go back to the same place.
Amazing. Incredible. Let's put this in the bin, I think, it's you.
So you can just sit here all evening just playing your own music.
No hands, you can mime it the whole evening.
Right.
Right, and now, what's the link up with these?
Well, you can also program in the music using one of these, and of course you give each note a name, like if it's called C, you call it C, If it's a quaver, you call it an 8, and you just feed in all these numbers. And eventually you should come out with what you would have had on a conventional piece of music paper, like this one we have here.
Aha! What's that?
That's the Rite of Spring by Stravinsky, which was first played, I think, 70 years ago this year.
1913, I think.
That's right,
That's
yes.
right, yes.
It caused a riot.
Why? Why was that?
Well, no one had ever heard anything quite like it. I think you can imagine society was quite different in those days. And this was... I mean, there are things in the Rite of Spring which no one really wrote again until the 60s, and pop came along, and you had the Trogs playing, I don't know, dan, 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 dan.
He seems to be the forefather of a lot of style, especially in film music, I always think, actually. Psycho.
So.
That sounds exactly like it, I think. Right, so the ball's in your court. What do you want to do with it? Are you going to give us a demonstration of the Rite of Spring?
Yes, let's have a listen to a bit of it. This should...
Actually, I better get back to my cockpit.
When a horrid little earthling like you lot have written your own programmes, or daftware as I like to call it, you usually want to save it somewhere safe. And the cheapest and nastiest way of doing that is to use a cassette tape like this. Pop it into the cassette over here. Now, the nice thing about a home computer is that it's rather cunning. It can convert your programmes into a code of bleeps and burps, which can be recorded quite nicely on this tape recorder here. The only snag with this is that the sounds have to be recorded extremely accurately, or the computer won't recognise them when you play it back to them. And this is why a lot of people have a lot of trouble loading and saving tapes on their cassette recorders. And what's more, they're incredibly slow to use. A much better way of doing things is to use a special magnetic disc called a floppy disk. Here it is in its little jacket, and it's a bit like a record. And this floppy disk fits into the floppy disk drive over here, and we can play and record quite neatly in there. It's extremely fast and very easy to use. The problem is that these floppy disk drives can cost a lot more than the computer itself. Incidentally, it's not true to say that if you put a real record inside of a floppy disk drive that you get a floppy disco drive. That's not quite untrue. Now, if you don't want to be soppy over floppies, maybe you should choose a compromise, something that's a halfway house between a tape and a disc. And why don't you try a floppy tape? It's about half the speed and about half the cost. And here it is, a Sinclair Microdrive, tiny little very fast tape which plugs into this Microdrive unit over here. Now, what's the snag with microdrives? The snag is you can't get hold of them. So hurry them up, Sir Clive. This is Egghead logging off.
He's here. Good. Let's give him something to worry about. Let the games begin.
Don't tense up now, honey. Ross?
Bubba, keep firing. Keep him occupied while I get the MX ready.
Hello, who are you two? What are you doing here?
This is Mike O'Kane and I'm Mike Potter.
Mike O'Kane and Mike Potter. Look,
Yeah.
just to simplify things, can I call you Mike?
Fair enough.
Mike, okay,
Yes.
Mike? Mike? Okay, Mike, right.
Yeah.
So what's it all about? What are you doing here?
Well, we're Titan Programs and we're now producing games for KTEL, which will be going on sale as from now.
What kind of games?
Well, this is one of them.
games.
Yep.
Exciting games. Right, it sounds like good
Yeah.
sales talk.
Yeah.
What's this one?
This is Battle of Toothpaste Tubes. Yeah, there's easy, medium or hard, and I'm going for easy because I'm no good.
Right, easy.
You can move up, down, left and right, and there's a fluoride to save yourself with.
Right.
And the idea is to hit the bristles of the toothpaste.
What, with
Brushes.
a bit of toothpaste?
Yeah, which you do with fire like that.
Yeah. It's like me in the morning,
So
actually,
you
when
got
I
that.
try to do this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you hit the handle, it bounces right back at you. You've got to get out of the way. Otherwise you get blown up.
What are the other games you've got? You said you had a few.
Yes, we've got 2 other games so far, but there'll be many more coming out. The first of the other games is Arena. This is a game very much like the Asteroids game, but you've got a man, a Roman emperor, in the middle of the screen, and he's got a shield, and he's got to deflect the asteroids in various different ways.
Right.
The skill levels there's something like 100 skill levels.
Sounds a bit like Scramble. Is it like Scramble?
No, it isn't. No, it isn't. It's more like the Asteroids type of game.
Totally original.
Totally original.
But it's, yeah, it really is different. It is really different.
Right. And what's the other one then?
The other game is Alien Swarm. There are different types of aliens, many waves. On the third wave, if you manage to reach it, there are different pods which sit behind screens, and they will hatch into eggs, burst down, flicker down onto the invaders.
Sounds
and
great.
It really does.
We'll have to
go
get
on.
our famous fighter road test them and then...
Excuse me, Captain, and Mike to the power of 2, but there's an enormous intergalactic sales force approaching on the port side. Hang on to your peripherals.
Beat the cold this winter with a real sheepskin coat from Barrett's of Feckenham. Real sheepskin coats, only £75. Thousands of coats in stock, over 40 great styles, and all at incredibly low prices. We are the specialists, so remember, if it's sheepskin, leather, anoraks or outdoor wear, it's got to be Barrett's of Feckenham. Real sheepskin coats, only £75. Vast stocks, fantastic selection, and incredibly low prices. Barrett's of Feckenham near Redditch, and at Boldmere, Coventry, Solihull, Wolverhampton and Measham.
Children's presents, annual problem. Well, here are the annual answers. Buster, Girl, Eagle, My Guy, Grange Hill and Shoot. With comic strip, photo stories, pin-ups and all they love best. Hardback, fun-pack books to please children of all ages. From $1.95 to $3.25.
Sometimes our mum gets this chronic case of bustle. So I give it the D treatment. The flavour brings her to a complete halt. And it's got the strength to get her sitting down. It's the quality of Brook Bondi. It really works for bustle.
Bustle?
Overly industrious, all go. Perpetually in motion.
Try the D treatment.
The Courtauld Prints factory shop has a wonderful selection of fabric patterns available to the public and the trade. We've beautiful prints in a variety of colours, and we're open for 5.5 days a week. So for quality prints at factory prices, come to the Courtauld Prints factory shop, Derby Road, Heanor.
Hello, love. Not one of these?
No, thanks.
Come on, jump in.
No, thanks. I've got enough.
OK.
Remember, kids, always say no to strangers.
All clear. Asteroid adverts now zapped. OK, Joe, you can get compatible with Chris CV now.
Oh, thank you, Prune. Hi, Chris. Welcome aboard. Listen, most of us already know about your first pop computer game single.
Yeah, that's right.
Would you like to tell us what you've been doing since?
Well, I've been very busy, actually. I've done a 1-hour video, which includes some computer graphics on and a programme that you can load off the video into your ZX81.
Yes.
Since then, I've done the Flying Train game that was on the B-side of the single. We've now done that for the Spectrum.
Now, I've actually played that. I mean, it's a very interesting game because you don't have trains in space.
Well, yeah, originally it was intended as a bit of a joke on Space Invaders, and it became very playable. It was just going to be a bit of a Mickey take on the B-side, and it just developed into a very good game.
It is, actually.
We've put 7 stages to that now, and we've put it out as a cassette-only release.
And I still haven't reached the end. But anyway, go on.
Also, I'm working on a Beatles Yellow Submarine game, which EMI are putting out with 5 Beatles songs on one side and a 5-stage game on the other that you play in time with the music. So you load up your computer and then put the tape on, play the music and play along with Yellow Submarine moving about, fighting the meanies, what have you.
Oh, that sounds interesting. Did you devise that yourself?
I did, yeah.
Haven't you got an album coming out on much the same principle?
Well, I've got 2 on the way, actually.
Oh.
I've got a back catalogue Freshies album, which has got a game with it called The Biz, which is a role-playing game based on the music business. And what you got to do is try and have a #1 record, what I haven't had yet.
Yes, well, I seem to remember playing it. I only got to number 88.
Yeah, it's very hard. Even in that, I've only got to 77 up to now.
Oh, in that case, I'm not doing too badly.
Very enthralling game.
And
what
then
about
the other one?
The other one is an LP with 16 games and 16 songs. And you play each game with the song while the music's going, and what you try and do is beat your album score every time.
Oh, I see.
So it runs in sync with the games and the songs.
Well, this all sounds very interesting, but I believe we've got your latest single here.
Also, I've been working on this as well. Now, this is coming out as a single on a cassette only, and it's going to have music on one side, and on the other side it will have 4 programmes. And this is a demonstration of one of them now.
Go on.
Nowadays, it's easy to make a computer play music. This one's been programmed to play Chariots of Fire by sending exactly the right signals to a sound generator. You can even play a computer rather like a musical instrument by programming the keyboard to represent the different musical notes. You can even get a computer to read printed music, provided it's fitted with a light sensor. So nowadays, computers are helping to spread musical knowledge and enlarge its scope. But what if you're not a budding musician? What if you can't tell Boy George from Beethoven? How could you possibly program a computer to create its own original music? Well, to answer that, we must delve into the world of artificial intelligence. One method is to train the computer to recognize the typical sounds created by the patterns and shapes of music invented by a human composer. It's a bit like an apprentice learns by examples. After a period of training, the computer can then generate its own random variations of music, but which fit in with the patterns that it's learned. Well, what are the results like? Well, they're not bad, but sometimes they can be very dull and boring, and often lacking in feeling. And that's partly because a human composer knows how to take risks, how to make his music exciting and original. So this method really only works well under the guidance of a human composer. But there is another problem. Most music actually says something to us. It makes us feel happy or sad. It reflects our emotions. So now scientists are learning to train computers to recognize the characteristic gestures and inflections in human speech and music which go along with our emotions. If this ever works, computers of the future may create original music which actually means something to us humans. Egghead logging off.
And now it's time for our famous five's verdicts, yet again on the games.
You've got control of a helicopter and you've got to try and sort of jump on people and get them to climb in, then take them back to HQ. The only trouble is you've got tanks and helicopters trying madly to shoot you down. You've got to be very fast to be good at it. And the only trouble is when you've got one load back to HQ, you have to start all over again.
And how many marks do you give it out of 5?
5.
And Mandy's been gambling for the last 20 minutes on this jackpot on the VIC-20. What do you reckon to this?
It's not bad, it's a pretty good copy of the arcade one.
Right, but would you actually prefer to have a real machine that you pull a handle down and you win all the money? Because on this, I mean, you're not actually going to win anything, are you, in the end?
No, not really.
In fact, you've lost £7.20 so far. Is that good? Do you reckon?
Fairly good.
Fairly good.
There's 8 keys, but it doesn't seem too bad. You can get used to it.
The shame is there's no really good sound effects, which I always like in those big machines. Anyway, how many would you give it out of 5?
4.
4? That's pretty good. That's 4 out of 5 from Mandy.
You've been adventuring with Manic Miner, haven't you? What did you think of it?
I think it's good.
I think it's good. Why?
She likes it. She's wrapped.
No, I just do. I just like things like it.
It's got 20 screens, though. You still seem to be on the first one.
Yeah.
You are talking to the child Mozart here of the computer. She is quite genius.
Really? I love this game. I think it's fantastic. Why do you think it's good?
Because you've got a lot of things, different things trying to catch you, and it's just
It's also a very
something
satisfying
different.
movement, isn't it? It's that nice floating thing that you get on Joust, which I'm very fond of. You know, the men on ostriches who charge at each other. Although the noises are better on that. I'm with you. I like noise.
Oh,
good whistle and crack.
This has got a good soundtrack to it.
Slightly
actually.
pathetic.
No, I don't agree. I think it's a really unusual game.
Doesn't
It's
sound to
one of the
me much like a
best-selling
miner being
ones.
attacked by a radish.
We haven't got to the radishes, but you do come to telephones with receivers going like
Mutant
this.
lavatories
And
come at
toilets
you.
with
I know.
lavatory seats, that's right.
Story of my life.
Yes, well, this is an unusual game. Now, I
No, it's
hear
beautiful.
you're into unusual games.
I have read of unusual games. I haven't actually got the most unusual. I was just reading about it before. There was a computer magazine. It said how to date Princess Di. And you actually asked this computer several questions. And, of course, you get your face slapped occasionally. But you can ask about politics. Princess Di apparently doesn't like Mrs. Thatcher, according to the computer.
Ah,
But you can then say, how would you like to come round to the Cardoma with me for a cup of tea? And
Well,
Lese Majesty immediately.
Quite apart from Princess Di, how many marks do you give it out of 5?
5. That's 10.
5.
It's a new world record.
What do you reckon to this, Leslie, this pinball game?
Pretty boring.
Pretty boring. That's very encouraging. What else have you got to say about it?
I think the graphics are alright.
Graphics all right.
The way the ball bounces.
Yeah.
But otherwise, it's...
Do you prefer the real thing when you go in and you get hold of the thing and you go... Do you prefer that one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do as well.
Hardly understand it because it's got ABC up there. And it's got 1 to 5 on the actual board. Don't even know what it's for.
Don't know what it's for?
No.
You've been here for 20 minutes playing this. What a waste of time. Now, look, what's the highest score on this game?
13,000.
Is that yours or is that
Yeah.
somebody else's?
That's someone else's, sorry.
Right, hard luck.
That's mine down there.
Oh, that's not so bad. How many would you give it out of 5?
2.
2? That's very encouraging. Thank you very much. There we go. 2 from Leslie. Stephen, now you've been playing Cosmic Convoy on your Commodore 64, I beg your pardon. How do you find this one?
Well, in a word, it's hopeless, really.
In a word, it's hopeless.
Yes, it's
Great.
too slow and not very interesting. Not really enjoying playing it. I wouldn't buy it.
You wouldn't buy it?
No.
Why not? Why is it? I mean, what's wrong with it? What would you like to see on it?
Well, there's so many other good games like it that I think it's pointless buying one like this because it's just uninteresting to play.
It's a shame, that. Well, next week we'll try and get you a better one, or whenever we ever see you. How many would you give it out of 5?
2.
2?
Yeah.
2 out of 5 for Cosmic Convoy. What's he doing?
Captain.
Willie Rushton, could you... No, don't touch it!
Why will they do it? Why must they fiddle when they don't understand? We'll never get the bugs out of humanoids.
User-friendly.